What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Football Chatbox. My name is Ryan, and welcome to the GameWeek29 Free Hit Draft. I'm going to be explaining what I've got on screen in terms of the choices I've made in terms of a free hit draft. We'll also show you what FPL Review came up with as well, and obviously go through some of the players that are here and also some of the players that are not here that you could also look at in terms of whichever options you're trying to consider for a free hit draft as well. Now, free hit, if you want to really play a free hit, I would only do it if you have, apart from the players on the bench, right? Let's say you have 3 players already, 4 players on the bench that are not playing, and on top of that, if you have another 3 players maybe missing, that requires you to take a -12 or something for to an extent, or even like 3 or 4 players that you're not happy with, like on your team. If you're not happy with like another 3 or 4 players, where you have to take a -8, not a -8 maybe, okay, a -12. If you have to take a -12, then I'd probably look at free hitting. Otherwise, I don't know if I would want to free hit. A few conditions need to be met to like free hit this week, like either -12, or for example, you don't have the wild card left, and your team consists of a couple Newcastle players. Like you have, for example, let's say you have Isak and Gordon, and you also have, let's say, triple Crystal Palace for some reason and double Liverpool as well, or double Crystal Palace and double Liverpool. Like if you have stuff like that and you don't have the wildcard left as well, then I would consider a free hit as well potentially. So having said all of that, those are the conditions for a free hit. Let's look at, before we go into mine, let's look at what FPL Review gave me as a free hit draft for my team value. This is basically some of the options that it went with. But these, to sum it up, it went with like a 3-4-3 formation. With upfront, you had Haaland, Chris Wood, and Beto, which was basically the options he gave me in almost all the drafts. The drafts looked almost very similar upfront. That's basically the 3 forwards it gave me. In terms of midfield, it gave me triple Arsenal midfield, and that triple Arsenal midfield was basically there for at least, again, all the drafts. I looked at that's the first thing I saw on this draft. I was like, triple Arsenal midfield, FPL Review, something's up. Clearly something is up on FPL Review with triple Arsenal midfield. Now this is the free version, I should say, so maybe that's different to the paid version. But yeah, triple Arsenal midfield, I don't really like that. It's got Kluivert and Bruno Fernandes, which I do like. And then it has in defense, it's got Guardiola, Ent-Nouri, Dalot, Ena, and Mazraoui, with Sels and Ederson in goal. So yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think this FPL Review free hit draft looks okay or not? Let me know in the comments, and let's get into the one that I just made. Now, in goal, we've gone with Sels. This depends on how you want to approach it. I've gone with only one Forest defender. If you want to go with like a defender from the back 3 instead of the goalkeeper, you can do that as well, and then you can go for a slightly different goalkeeper. I've gone Areola as the backup goalkeeper, but honestly, you could pick like a Jose Sa against Southampton, or even potentially Onana against Leicester. But I should mention, this was brought to my attention by Com, who is a regular subscriber. In terms of Man United have kept only 1 clean sheet in the last 15 games in the Premier League. So maybe me having Mazraoui here is not probably the best ideas, but you'd also say Leicester haven't scored in like the last 6 games or something. So there's that also to kind of add. In terms of Premier League, they have scored in like cup competitions and all, but like Premier League wise, they haven't scored recently. Now, goalkeeper Sels, Mazraoui, Kirkes, and Ent-Nouri are my defenders. Basically, I've gone with attacking fullbacks, to be honest. All 3 played I guess Mazraoui played really well against Arsenal. Kirkes, amazing cross against Spurs, got some attacking returns. Nouri had a few chances. It's generally a very attacking fullback for Wolves as well. So I've gone for those 3 in my defense. In midfield, I've gone for Bruno Fernandes, Kluivert, Mbeumo, and Hudson-Odoi. And up front, I've gone for Evanilson, Chris Wood, and Haaland. So instead of Beto in FPL Review, I've gone for Evanilson instead as my 3rd striker. Obviously, if you wanted to go for Beto, you could. In terms of other forward options, Wissa from Brentford, and would you have anyone else that kinda is tempting for this week? Not really, I would say. I don't think. I mean, Solanke maybe, but I'm not really sold by Spurs fully. They do have a decent fixture against Fulham, but not the best. So I probably wouldn't look at Solanke. So it's either you can go better, or you could also go Joe Pedro, who's been on some pretty good form recently. Obviously, Haaland is your City attacker. I should also add Marmoush. Obviously, got benched, but I might expect him to play against Brighton, to be honest. So there are a couple other strikers for that third spot. If you wanted to go as a third striker option, it's up to you based on your budget as well. This one has like 5.2 in the bank, so there's plenty of cash, obviously. But I've gone for Evan Nilsson because I like Bournemouth at home. And then for those of you non-free hitters as well, it's not a bad option because next week they've got Ipswich. Now, in terms of midfield, this is where there's like a lot of option and variety that you can play with. I've gone for Bruno Fernandes and Kluivert as the two main players that I like. I've got Mbeumo and Hudson Odoi. So we're taking the from the Forest midfielders, we've gone for Hudson Odoi. You can also go for Elanga or Gibbs White. That's not too bad as well. You can go double Bournemouth midfield. If, for example, you didn't want to go Evan Nilsson or didn't want to go Kirkes, you can go Kluivert and Semenyo, but I've gone for like one forward, one defender, and one midfielder from Bournemouth. So Hudson Odoi, Elanga, Gibbs White from Forest, Mbeumo from, obviously we've gone for the Bournemouth option. I've got Bowen on the bench. He could also play in here, to be honest. And in terms of other midfielders, no one really potentially stands out in terms of fixtures play. We look at the fixtures, obviously Arsenal are playing Chelsea. I don't really want midfielders from either. I don't know why FPL Review has triple Arsenal midfield for some reason, but it does. Bournemouth, obviously we've got triple up already. Brentford, we have Mbeumo in that midfield. Brighton, you could go Mitoma, but City have improved defensively recently, so we're not going for any Brighton midfielders. But Joe Pedro, like I mentioned, could be a forward option if you wanted to. Chelsea, again, same reason. They're against Arsenal, and it's Arsenal at home, so not really. We don't want to go there. Everton, no, we don't want anyone. Fulham, also against Spurs. There are a couple options, but the goals are kind of spread out, so you don't know exactly who's going to get it. Sorry, the returns are kind of spread out, so attacking returns. So I wouldn't really recommend anyone there. For Ipswich and Leicester, we're ignoring City. I've already mentioned Haaland on there. The other one is obviously Marmoush. I'm not looking at any of them midfielders. Too much rotation and also uncertainty in that situation. Man United, we already have Bruno Fernandes, and I don't think I would want anyone else for Man United in terms of attack at least. Forest, I mentioned a couple of the Forest options. Any one of them are good. Southampton, no. Spurs, no, wouldn't recommend. Also depends on how they do in Europa League. And then West Ham and Wolves. We saw West Ham, we went for Bowen. Wolves, there is an option. Muntesi, who is a 5 million priced Wolves player, obviously scored the goal for Wolves, came off at halftime due to injury precaution. But 5 million owned. He could also be another nice punt if you wanted to go for him from Wolves because they have Southampton this week. So that's my midfield options. And then obviously defense, apart from these players, we got Guardiola here on the bench as well. Gabriel, if you wanted that Arsenal cover from defense. Kusanov from Man City is another cheaper Man City alternative, but I think with a free hit, you'll have enough of budget, to be honest. And then from other defenders that maybe should be here, I mean, Cucurella scored 2 goals back-to-back and got 15 pointers in back-to-back, but you're not expecting him to keep a clean sheet against Chelsea. Against Arsenal away from home as well. So you probably wouldn't be looking at Cucurella for this week on a free hit. No other defenders. Obviously, Dalot could be an option. If you wanted to, he might get some attacking returns, maybe. But Mazraoui also very similar situation in terms of attacking returns. And obviously, like I said, if you didn't go sales in goal, you can go one of the defenders, either Williams or Olaena. I mean, Milenkovic is also not too bad from set pieces. And I believe Murillo is also another one, and he does take set pieces as well. So, I mean, Forest have plenty of defensive options that you wanted to go as well if you wanted to pick one of them. So yeah, that's basically my free hit draft. Let me know in the comments if I have missed anyone. And let me know what you think about FPL Reviews 1 as well. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and I'll be back tomorrow with a buy sell video for those of you who are not free hitting and are looking obviously for like a 2 game week punt or 1 game week punt before you look to wildcard in either game week 30 or game week 31. Until then, I will see you all later. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and thank you all for watching.